Only a single brave soldier dared to connect with the towering extraterrestrial being, standing at 8 feet tall. This tale unfolds in a realm where humanity's resilience shines through in the face of the unknown. The celestial outpost sparkled like a precious gem amidst the deep void of the cosmos, its spinning bands creating a dance of light and shadow over the moon's rugged terrain. Within the vast assembly hall of the station, Ethan Grayson stood at attention, his disciplined posture a striking juxtaposition to the vibrant spectrum of extraterrestrial diplomats encircling him. "Allow me to clarify this, Captain Grayson." General Mitchell's face, marked by the passage of time, bore a deep frown of worry. "Are you participating in the Velura connection ceremony? The identical ceremony that has claimed the lives of 3 prior contenders?" "Affirmative, Commander." Ethan's voice held a calm facade, even as his heart raced wildly within his chest. A connection must be established across this divide. The Velura possess an unmatched strength that cannot be overlooked. The commander's gaze sharpened. "And you believe you have the credentials because—" "With all due respect, esteemed one, my history is a testament to my journey. 12 remarkable encounters that led to successful communication, featuring the pivotal Centaurian crisis. I comprehend the intricacies of extraterrestrial minds more profoundly than many, and—" Ethan hesitated, selecting his words with great caution. "I am of little importance. None of my kind. No attachments. Disposable isn't what we require, Captain. We must achieve success." The commander pointed to the shimmering projection that depicted a fierce Velura fighter. "They tower over you, wielding mind powers that elude our comprehension, and have yet to demonstrate any genuine desire for significant interaction with humanity." Ethan approached the shimmering projection, examining the colossal silhouette before him. "That's precisely why we must exert ourselves more, Commander. The cosmos is evolving. We require companions, not mere bystanders." Before the commander could react, a disturbance broke out close to the primary docking area of the station. The enormous gates creaked apart, unveiling a scene that left every creature in the chamber motionless. Ariella, the envoy from Velura, bent low to pass through the towering 3-meter-high entrance. Her azure complexion shimmered under the synthetic illumination, producing a nearly otherworldly radiance. Standing at a towering 8 feet, she dwarfed the gathered diplomats, making them appear as mere children in her presence. Her ceremonial armor, embellished with the insignias of her fierce lineage, heightened her already formidable aura. Ethan sensed a parched feeling in his mouth. The visual recordings failed to capture the true essence of the Velura. "Commander," the envoy murmured, "this is your final opportunity to rethink your decision." "Negative, sir. Count me in." Ariella's gaze traversed the room, her deep purple eyes ultimately locking onto Ethan. Her expression transformed ever so slightly. Was that a letdown? The grand unveiling commenced as diverse beings from across the cosmos advanced to present themselves. As Ethan stepped forward, he did so with unwavering confidence, locking eyes with the unknown before him. Communication, even while straining to look up. "Greetings to the celestial embassy of the moon." He spoke and meticulously honed his skills in Veloran. "I am Captain Ethan Grayson, your liaison from the stars." Ariella's head tilted slightly, her voice resonating with an enchanting melody that the translation instruments were unable to fully grasp. "You are less significant than anticipated." A wave of anxious chuckles swept across the assembly. Ethan stood his ground. Wonderful surprises often arrive in unexpected forms, as we often express in our world. Amusement, she observed, her voice steady. "A intriguing protective strategy." "Not a defense," Ethan replied, a subtle smile playing on his lips. "Interaction. At times, the most effective method to connect across divides is to find humor in them." Her eyes narrowed, yet a spark danced within their violet depths. "We understand your words. Well, for a being from another world. I've spent 3 months getting ready, but I have a feeling my accent is quite awful." It is satisfactory. Was there a hint of curiosity in her tone? We will find out if your other arrangements are just as effective. The diplomatic reception carried on, yet Ethan felt the weight of Ariella's gaze upon him. Throughout the night, her gaze was not one of aggression, but rather one of scrutiny, akin to a researcher examining a peculiar entity. Later, during the formal gathering, Ethan discovered he was positioned directly across from her, a setup that allowed them to meet at a somewhat balanced gaze while she remained seated and he stood tall. The table had been uniquely crafted to suit the diverse forms and nutritional requirements of different beings. "Share with me, Captain," Ariella inquired, her fingers gracefully maneuvering the diminutive eating utensils that seemed almost fragile in her grasp. "What compelled you to step forward for this expedition? Truthful response or tactful reply?" She. Expression intensified with curiosity. "Do you recognize a distinction? There's always a presence, isn't there? However, I will offer you truthfulness." I stepped forward, driven by the courage that others lacked. "And you do not feel fear?" Filled with dread, Ethan confessed, taking a cautious sip of his wine. "Yet, trepidation serves a purpose. If you allow it to enhance your clarity, rather than obscure it." Ariella paused, her utensils resting on the table as she turned her gaze fully towards him. "You're quite the surprise, Captain Grayson. My name is Ethan. If we are to embark on this endeavor of linking worlds, we ought to be on a more personal level, don't you think?" She cautioned him that the link was uncertain. "To begin, you must demonstrate your value. How about we begin with you addressing me as Ethan, and we'll gradually progress to something more significant." A strange noise resonated from her throat. A sound that teeters on the edge of amusement and menace. "You possess a unique blend of courage and recklessness, Ethan." The station's alarm system selected that precise moment to disrupt the fragile peace. Crimson beams throbbed rhythmically while the alarm echoed in a cacophony of tongues. "Unauthorized access detected in Zone 7. The proclamation sliced through the turmoil. Unidentified intruders have penetrated the outer shell. All representatives must move to safe zones without delay." Ethan was already in motion before the announcement concluded, his military instincts taking over. "Zone 7. That's close to the heart of the station's energy source. Are you familiar with the design of this station?" Ariella was already on her feet. Her colossal form coiled with anticipation. "Committed it to memory. Part of the preparations you spoke of." He unsheathed his weapon, mind racing with strategies and escape plans. "Are you ready to join me in a mission to rescue countless souls?" Her luminous violet eyes sparkled with an otherworldly brilliance. "Guide us forward, brave champion." They glided through the station's corridors, an unexpected duo. The towering Velora warrior and the human soldier. As the emergency bulkheads sealed off the station, Ethan's mind raced with the knowledge of hidden maintenance passages that could lead them to Sector 7. With a gesture, he pointed towards a hidden passageway. "It'll be a close squeeze for you, but it's quicker than the primary pathways." Ariella regarded the tunnel with a mix of skepticism and intrigue. "You want me to slither on the ground? I require your assistance in preventing hostile entities from possibly detonating this facility. It's entirely up to you, the way you choose to approach it." To his astonishment, she erupted in laughter. A genuine chuckle this time. "Indeed, Ethan. Guide me through the unknown." They faced the initial adversaries at the tunnel's exit. 3 silhouettes clad in protective gear wielding energy-based cutting tools. Ethan gestured to Ariella, urging her to stay put as he surveyed the scene around them. "I count 3, he murmured. "They are attempting to penetrate the protective barrier of the energy source. We require a pair." Before he could complete his thought, Ariella erupted from the tunnel, her colossal figure barreling toward the terrorists with astonishing swiftness. Ethan unleashed a string of curses as he laid down suppressive fire, driving one of the assailants away from their gear. The clash was swift yet fierce. Ariella's formidable power hurled one assailant against a wall, the impact so intense that it shattered the faceplate of their suit. Ethan's accurate strikes rendered another's armaments useless, while his close-quarters combat skills turned out to be unexpectedly powerful against the third adversary. "Look out!" Ariella's caution resonated with a telepathic wave so intense it left Ethan's ears buzzing. He fell to the ground and rolled away instinctively as she hurled a chunk of wreckage over him, striking a fourth assailant they had overlooked. As the chaos faded, the four intruders lay defeated, and the guardians of the station were swiftly approaching. Ethan and Ariella found themselves surrounded by the still forms, their breaths coming in quick, heavy gasps. "Your abilities in battle are..." "It is satisfactory," Ariella remarked. A hint of reverence began to weave into her tone. With a sly smile, Ethan wiped the crimson from his split lip, relishing the unexpected acclaim. "You're not too shabby, but we may need to refine that whole understated vibe a bit." "Subtlety is overrated," she advanced, looming above him with an otherworldly presence. "You anticipated my choice for direct action, yet you still devised your strategy with that in mind. What is the reason?" "Because that's what the bond between worlds is about, isn't it? Embracing our unique traits, rather than opposing them." Ariella observed him intently for an extended period, then leaned down and made contact with his. Her lip touched by a single enormous digit, unexpectedly tender. "Maybe," she whispered gently, "you aren't completely unworthy after all, Ethan Grayson." The atmosphere changed dramatically with the sudden appearance of security teams, yet an unspoken connection lingered between them. As the reports were delivered and the station gradually resumed its usual rhythm, Ethan noticed Ariella observing him with a fresh curiosity. As the gathering continued under the watchful eyes of heightened security, Ariella made her way back to him once more. She declared her intention to move forward with the trials for establishing the connection. Ethan lifted an eyebrow, intrigued. "What shifted your perspective?" "Your bravery, cleverness, and ability to adjust have been remarkable. These are intriguing traits." Her violet gaze locked onto his, "even though you remain infuriatingly diminutive." He responded with a smirk, suggesting it was more about optimal dimensions, which earned him another one of those low, rumbling chuckles. "We embark on our journey tomorrow," she proclaimed. "Do not arrive tardy, adeptly proportioned fighter." As she drifted into the unknown, Ethan felt a grin spread across his face. It was an initiation, and in the realm of negotiations, occasionally that was all one required. The figure materialized beside him. "Well, Commander, it seems you've left quite the mark." "Indeed, sir," Ethan concurred, observing Ariella's vanishing silhouette, yet a sense of foreboding lingered, hinting that the true trials are only about to unfold. "Keep your objective in mind, Commander. The outcome of the connection between humans and the Velura may hinge on this pivotal moment." Ethan nodded, his mind drifting toward the challenges of the morrow and the intriguing combatant he would encounter in the arena. A feeling stirred within him, hinting that this journey would transcend all he had encountered before, and he was eager to embark on it. The break of day on the lunar diplomatic station illuminated the training facility with a synthetic radiance, as beams of engineered sunlight poured through the fortified windows. Ethan arrived early, discovering Ariella already present, her imposing figure gliding through a sequence of graceful movements in battle that appeared to challenge her stature. "You're ahead of schedule," she observed, maintaining her usual pace. Restlessness consumed Ethan as he shed his jacket, revealing a mind racing with thoughts beyond the ordinary. "It seems like the perfect moment to embark on this journey." Ariella finished her sequence, then pivoted to confront him. "The bonding ceremony demands more than mere physical readiness, young warrior. I understand a connection of minds, a harmony of feelings, and..." He hesitated, looking for the perfect term from Valoran. "Cosmic harmony. Your understanding of our writings is impressive." She glided forward, each step measured and intentional. Yet, perusing words does not equate to grasping their essence. Suddenly, her consciousness collided with his, a feeling akin to a jolt of static electricity coursing through him. Awareness. Ethan faltered, caught off guard by the overwhelming force. She noted the strength of your mental barriers, yet they felt inflexible. They should adapt and flow, much like a stream. It would be much simpler if you could give me a heads up before taking that action. Ethan inhaled sharply, bracing himself. A subtle grin played upon her lips. Intruders do not announce their arrival before they attack. Neither will I. Thus commenced their preparation regimen. Every dawn commenced with rigorous training, a harsh blend of terrestrial combat drills and the fierce traditions of Valorn warriors. In a world where the unexpected often unfolds, Ethan showcased his prowess, his nimbleness balancing her formidable power, despite the stark contrast in their sizes. Your movements are precise, Ariella remarked one morning, observing him execute a complicated maneuver, akin to a lethal strike masked as a gentle touch. Was that a gesture of praise or something else? Feedback. A curious observation. Her otherworldly gaze held him captive. There are layers to you that remain concealed, Ethan Grayson. The afternoon gatherings delved into cerebral challenges, which turned out to be significantly more demanding. Ethan's rigorous training had equipped him to strengthen his mental defenses. Now he had to discover how to unlock it. Calm yourself, Ariella commanded, her enormous hands poised just above his temples. Your thoughts are akin to tightly closed fists. Reveal them. It was simpler to express than to act upon, Ethan murmured, attempting to dismiss the way her closeness stirred something within him. In my realm of existence, the unseen walls of the mind are what ensure survival. And in this tale, they will bring about your end. Her voice took on a gentle quality. Faith must find its origin in the unknown. Gradually, moment by moment, they advanced. Ethan discovered how to identify the distinct essence of Ariella's mind, akin to the faint rumble of thunder on a warm summer day. Darkness enveloped the world. She, in turn, started to grasp the peculiar notions of personal space that humans held, though she found them quite entertaining. Your kind is so fixated on unseen limits, she noted during a pause, yet you readily delve into one another's thoughts. In that moment, a mischievous smile spread across Ethan's face. What compelled the being from Earth to traverse the vast expanse of the cosmos? Ariella's expression revealed a sense of well-known frustration. Is this yet another one of your amusing tales? To traverse the vast expanse of the cosmos. That is not amusing. The transmission requires refinement, he conceded. Yet, there's a smile on your face. I am not. We exist. Only a tiny bit. Their playful exchange was suddenly halted by the entrance of Ambassador Chen, a member of the human diplomatic delegation. His face was etched with worry, as if the weight of the universe rested upon his shoulders. Captain Grayson, may I have a moment of your time? Ethan shared a knowing look with Ariella before trailing behind Chen to a secluded spot in the training room. There's a rising tide of resistance against this endeavor, Chen murmured. Both beings of Earth and Valura. Some fear that the connection ritual will grant the Valura excessive power over human matters. Or humans exerted excessive control over the Valura, Ethan concluded. Thus the recent infiltration of our defenses. Keep your guard up, Captain. As Chen departed, Ethan observed the intense look on Ariella's face. You caught all of that, didn't you? My auditory perception surpasses that of humans, she affirmed. My capacity to detect falsehoods is unparalleled. The envoy conveys honesty, yet not the entirety of it. That evening, as they engaged in their cool-down exercises, Ethan sensed a change in their mental bond. Rather than the typical, regulated interaction, he found himself witnessing fragments of Ariella's past experiences. Her preparation as a fighter, the burden of her community's hopes, and an additional, mysterious force. Worry for him. The link severed suddenly. Ariella stepped back, her expression shrouded in caution. That was quite a surprise, Ethan remarked cautiously. Did you witness it? Several. Did you observe anything from my end? She nodded with a sense of otherworldly understanding. Your bravery, your solitude, your... She paused, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. Fascination. The phrase lingered in the air, charged with an unspoken tension. Ethan locked eyes with her, unwavering. Does that unsettle you? It should, she advanced, her imposing figure enveloping him in darkness. You are diminutive, delicate, otherworldly. However, you are also. Her hand extended, fingers hovering tantalizingly close to his face, as if caught in a moment suspended between worlds. Intriguing. The tranquility was abruptly pierced by the blaring of alarms. This time, it wasn't the station's security system that triggered the alarms, but rather the proximity warnings emanating from the training room itself. From hidden compartments within the walls, a number of armed silhouettes materialized. Ethan and Ariella glided through the shadows, their recent training manifesting in seamless harmony. She shielded him as he neutralized the closest threat, then harnessed her power to propel him toward yet another foe. Their thoughts intertwined for a fleeting moment amidst the chaos, enabling them to synchronize their movements without uttering a single sound. As the guards approached, they discovered 6 incapacitated attackers sprawled on the ground, while Ethan and Ariella stood resolutely back to back, their breaths coming in heavy gasps. Well, Ethan panted, that's certainly an intriguing method to explore our bond. Ariella's laughter echoed deep within her, a sound that resonated like distant thunder. Are you serious right now? Would you rather I lose my composure? Her hand reached out, enveloping his shoulder in a firm grasp. In this vast universe, I cherish you just the way you exist. The consequences ushered in heightened vigilance and examination. Exploration uncovered that the perpetrators were contracted by an alliance of traditionalist groups from both races. The project was now facing the looming shadow of cancellation. In the secluded chamber of their training facility, Ethan and Ariella stood opposite one another on the mat, anticipation crackling in the air. They dread the possibilities of our evolution, Ariella whispered. What could we evolve into? She extended her hand, this time letting her fingertips glide across his cheek. The contact sent electric pulses through their evolving connection. A phenomenon unlike anything known to either of our civilizations. Is that what you desire? Ethan inquired, tilting closer to her caress. What do I desire? She sketched him. Nearer, until he had to angle his head back to keep their gaze locked. Perhaps it doesn't correspond with my responsibilities. In my experience, he smiled, the most extraordinary moments seldom come easily. Their preparation progressed with fresh vividness. The imminent threat had ignited a profound bond between them. In the midst of intense combat simulations, their consciousness intertwined effortlessly, exchanging not merely thoughts but feelings, experiences, yearnings. Your essence resonates with the cosmos, Ariella remarked during one of those extraordinary connections. Unaware that thoughts could possess flavors, Ethan struggled, still acclimating to the overwhelming sensations of their bond. A great deal about our existence continues to elude understanding between us. Her ethereal essence enveloped his mind. Maybe that is what draws us in. The moment of revelation arrived amidst a especially difficult scenario. Encircled by shimmering foes, they flowed together as a singular entity, her power and his nimbleness intertwining seamlessly. Harmoniously aligned. Their consciousness intertwined for an ephemeral instant. And in that moment, they shared a profound connection. Ethan witnessed Ariella's early years unfold on her native planet. Experienced the weight of destiny as her selection loomed over me. Individual's envoy. She felt an increasing intrigue towards him. She observed his solitary journey through the ranks of the armed forces. His yearning to connect the divide between their kind and the intensity of his emotions for her. As they stepped out from the bond between them was unsettling, leaving them both in a state of unease. That was. Ethan began his journey. Indeed, Ariella concurred, her tone unexpectedly gentle. It was. They lingered in quietude, absorbing the profound connection of their experience. At last, Ariella uttered her words. The ceremony will reach a level of intensity beyond what you can imagine. Some claim it transforms those who experience it forever. Are you cautioning me or yourself? Her enormous hand caressed his face once more, a soft touch against his skin. Maybe a combination of the two. The path we embark on is irreversible. Good, Ethan declared with conviction, for I have no desire to reverse it. Their gazes locked, one a vibrant shade of purple, and the other a deep brown, an otherworldly connection sparking in the air between them. The impending ceremony hovered before them, yet in that instant, both understood they had already surpassed a threshold from which there was no turning back. Tomorrow, Ariella announced, we embark on the ultimate preparations. Ethan nodded, sensing the gravity of their intertwined destinies. So it shall be tomorrow. Should I present some blooms from another world? Her eerie, otherworldly laugh echoed through the chamber. You are truly a challenge, little fighter. And still, you find yourself here. Indeed, she concurred, her voice brimming with deep feeling. Behold, our arrival. As they separated under the vast, starry sky, both understood that no matter the unknown trials that awaited them, they would confront them side by side. The forces of opposition, the looming threats, the walls of culture, all felt trivial next to the bond they had created. The destiny of the connection between humans and Velura teetered on a precipice, yet for Ethan and Ariella, a far deeper and more intimate matter loomed large. They had discovered an unimaginable reality that neither of their kinds had ever envisioned. A connection spanning the immense divide between their species, forged not merely out of political need, but from authentic comprehension and an evolving affection. Ethan felt an unshakable notion that this evening held an unusual significance. The way Ariella's voice had mellowed, her throaty laughter brimming with feeling, had etched itself into his mind. Indeed, we have arrived, she had proclaimed, and the gravity of those utterances enveloped him like a shroud. As the soft vibrations of the celestial outpost enveloped him, Ethan stood by the viewport of his chamber, gazing at the ethereal shimmer of his home planet on the distant skyline. Rest eluded him, as the weight of uncertainty loomed precariously in the air. The destiny of the bond between humans and Velura hung in the balance, yet it wasn't solely the diplomatic ties that weighed heavily on his mind at this moment. What stirred deep within him was something profoundly intimate. Ariella lingered in his thoughts, an ethereal essence that remained even in her absence. Her imposing presence, her keen intellect, the way her touch ignited a jolt across his skin, tender yet formidable. He shut his eyes, releasing a breath into the unknown. Their impending confrontation, the tasks ahead, would transform into an epic struggle for existence. The looming presence of an external menace intertwined with the deep emotional currents between them created an atmosphere thick with tension. If anything, tonight had revealed to him that their connection had evolved into something much deeper than a mere diplomatic endeavor. It had evolved into an undeniable truth, a bond so profound that neither could escape its grasp, not without shedding fragments of their very essence. A sudden, jarring knock echoed through the silence, pulling him from his reverie. Grayson? Ariella's voice resonated with a profound, otherworldly timbre that was impossible to ignore. Even through the barrier of the door, he could feel the electric charge in her voice. Enter, he beckoned, glancing towards the threshold. Ariella entered the chamber, her aura instantly captivating all who were present. As she bent just enough to pass through the entrance designed for mere mortals, her essence seemed to expand, saturating the atmosphere around her. Her violet orbs shimmered with an unusual depth, charged with the gravity of the message she was about to deliver. They've initiated their approach, she remarked, her tone calm yet unwavering. The invasion is set to unfold under the cover of darkness. We must depart immediately. At this moment, Ethan's heart raced within him, not out of fear, but driven by the pressing intensity of her voice. He approached her, seizing his jacket and sidearm, sensing deep down that this was the pivotal moment they had anticipated, the moment when everything would come undone. As he approached her, she laid her hand on his shoulder, her fingers curling softly yet resolutely. Her grasp was perpetually precise, a reflection of her formidable strength. "We won't get anywhere if we linger in this place," she remarked. "We are the prey in a relentless chase." "I realized," Ethan whispered, sensing the rush of energy coursing through him. "Is there a strategy in place?" "We escape," she answered plainly, "but it's not just us they're pursuing. Influential figures from both sides, human and Valora, view us as a danger. They will not relent until the sacred bond is shattered, until we are no more." Ethan's thoughts buzzed with excitement. "We must finish this before they arrive." Ariel's gaze shimmered with an unexpected warmth. "We finish it," she consented, and for the first time, a softness crept into her voice that had never been present before. They glided through the shadowy passages of the station, their movements nearly soundless, even as the atmosphere buzzed with an electric tension. Every shadow, every corner might hide a foe in this moment. Ethan's mind was racing, hyper-aware of every shift, every glimmer, yet beside him, Ariel exuded an unshakable tranquility. She glided through the shadows with an elegance that belied her formidable size, each step calculated and deadly as they ventured further into the heart of the station. The shrill sound of alarms pierced the air, echoing through the vast expanse of the unknown. The crimson emergency lights flickered ominously, stretching elongated, ghostly shadows across the walls, amplifying the palpable tension that hung in the air between them. "Time is slipping away," Ethan whispered, looking up at her with urgency. Ariel nodded, her expression becoming resolute. "The hidden passageways." "Too clear," Ethan responded, his thoughts darting through possibilities. "They will anticipate that." "What about the mysterious compartments?" "Weightlessness. It will be more challenging for them to locate our presence." Ariel's lips curled in a way that suggested a hint of mischief. "Many beings of human-like form despise the absence of gravity." "Is Valora included as well?" "Perhaps," she conceded, yet a glimmer of mischief danced in her gaze. "However, I believe in you." Ethan stared in disbelief. Ariel was not one to use those words casually. "Then, let us embark on our journey." They dashed through In the dimly lit passage, the sound of footsteps echoed ominously, drawing nearer with each heartbeat. A far-off burst of energy whizzed by Ethan's shoulder, and he muttered a curse under his breath. "Permit me." Ariel snarled, taking a moment to tear away a piece of wall paneling effortlessly with a single hand. She launched it down the corridor, her power propelling the improvised weapon to collide forcefully with their chasers. The pause granted them invaluable moments, and they zipped around the corner towards the entrance of the cargo hold. "I hope you enjoy the weightlessness," Ethan murmured while entering the access code. The portal slid open, unveiling the vastness of the weightless cargo chamber beyond. Ariel replied with certainty, her steps unwavering as they propelled forward into the unknown. Themselves into the boundless expanse. The feeling of gliding through the cosmos was known to Ethan, yet for Ariel, the encounter was infinitely more bewildering. Her enormous form, typically so elegant and composed, struggled a bit in the void of weightlessness. Ethan glided closer to her, his hands providing a reassuring presence with soft caresses. "Embrace the void, don't resist it," he whispered, his hands steering her through the unknown. She gazed down at him, her violet eyes shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Mysterious and gripping. "I don't like feeling out of control," she confessed, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Then, believe in me," Ethan murmured gently, his eyes holding hers in a steady embrace. "I will ensure you remain safe." Her lips parted slightly, and for a moment, an unspoken connection flickered between them, something profound that transcended mere words. The bond they had been forging for ages was beginning to take shape. Even in the absence of the ceremony. Their chasers paused at the threshold of the cargo hold, just as Ethan had foreseen. The weightless expanse disoriented many of the beings, granting them the precious moments they needed to navigate further into the realm of suspended vessels. "Your kind," Ariel remarked as they progressed, "adjusts astonishingly to challenges." "We've encountered numerous challenges," Ethan responded with a subtle grin. He regained his composure swiftly, his gaze sweeping across the surroundings. "The true enigma lies in discovering who is orchestrating the attempts on life. Who are we?" They were more than mere hired guns. "No," Ariel concurred, her voice brimming with fury. "Among them were fierce warriors, hailing from my very own lineage. They've united with the humans who dread the bond." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Are they truly that fearful of the potential we could unleash in unison?" Before Ariel could respond, a fresh wave of assailants emerged from the shadows at the far side of the cargo hold, their magnetic boots clinging to the metallic floor. "Maintain their equilibrium." Ethan muttered a curse, pulling Ariel behind a hovering crate. "We must get to the emergency airlocks," he urged, his voice strained. "If we can reach the outer shell, there may be a chance for us to escape unnoticed." An unexpected blast shook the station, hurling containers into the silent expanse of space. Ariel's arm extended swiftly, grasping. Ethan pressed against her, heart racing, as a colossal fragment of wreckage zoomed by them. "You rescued me once more," Ethan breathed, his heart racing within his chest. "We safeguard that which holds great value to us," she responded, her tone imbued with a deep, unwavering fervor. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The manner in which she expressed it, the intensity of her gaze fixed upon him. It was more than a mere pledge of allegiance. It was an experience that transcended the ordinary, reaching into the very essence of existence. Yet, there was no moment to linger on it now. They navigated the turmoil, employing the fragments for concealment. Yet, the hunters pressed on, their courage swelling as they maneuvered through the perilous expanse of weightlessness. A sudden blast erupted, hurling a new torrent of wreckage into the void, while the emergency lights of the station flickered to life, casting an eerie glow in the chaos. The station's AI delivered the news with an eerie calmness: "Life support is failing in sectors 12 through 15. Alert systems activated." "They're attempting to trap us," Ethan understood, his thoughts swirling in a frenzy. "They're sealing off parts of the station to ensnare us." Ariel's jaw clenched with determination. "Then we shall discover an alternative path to freedom." They surged forward, racing toward the closest emergency airlock. Just as they approached the hatch, a violent explosion rocked the station, causing the enormous structure to tremble. The portal crashed closed. Ethan muttered a curse, clutching a nearby support beam to regain his balance. "We're reaching the end of our choices," he whispered. Ariel surveyed her surroundings, her violet eyes sharpening with focus. As she absorbed the unfamiliar environment. "Only a single path remains." Ethan glanced at her, his brows knitting together in confusion. "What do you imply?" She extended her hand, gently cradling his face cradled in her enormous hand, her touch astonishingly tender. "The ritual of connection, we shall fulfill it at this moment." Ethan's heart raced with an unexpected thrill. "Present at this moment. There is no other choice," she said, her voice low and filled with an otherworldly urgency. "Unyielding. We must act now. The ceremony is our sole opportunity." Ethan gulped, his thoughts racing. Speeding through the cosmos. The ceremony of connection transcended mere diplomatic niceties. It held a significance that reached deep into the cosmos. An unseen force that intertwined their fates in ways beyond their understanding. And once it was completed, there would be no turning back. He gazed into her eyes, probing for any hint of uncertainty, yet found none. Ariel stood firm, her eyes locked onto him with an intensity that was impossible to ignore. "I'm prepared," he murmured gently, his tone unwavering even as a tempest of feelings raged within him. Ariel's lips curled into a subtle grin, her gaze becoming gentle and warm. "Then, let us embark on this journey." They discovered a hidden maintenance chamber, securing the door tightly behind them to gain a precious moment of respite. The atmosphere was sparse, and the emergency lights bathed the surroundings in a crimson hue, intensifying the sense of confinement. Yet, none of that held significance in this moment. Ethan and Ariel sat cross-legged on the floor, their eyes locked in the soft glow of the dim light, as if sharing a secret from another world. Her shimmering skin radiated in the shadows, her vibrant eyes shining brightly as she extended her hand towards him. "You're bound to my thoughts," she started, her voice a soft, rhythmic vibration. "Your essence to my essence." Their fingers intertwined, and despite the immense disparity in their sizes, the bond felt undeniably correct. Ethan sensed the heat radiating from her skin, the rhythm of her vitality vibrating just below the surface. "Your power complements my own," he continued, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Your essence to my essence." The bond between them intensified, and Ethan experienced an overwhelming surge of feelings, fear, desire, and an aching longing. Yet, these feelings transcended his own, they intertwined with hers, merging into his awareness like vibrant hues swirling in a cosmic dance. He glimpsed bursts of her past, her youth on the velour planet, the heavy burden of customs and hopes resting upon her shoulders. He witnessed the instant she first gazed upon him, her immediate perception of him as feeble and inconsequential, soon evolving into a deep intrigue with his subtle resilience. And in return she saw him, his solitude, his yearning to connect across the chasm that divided them, his deepening affection for her despite the immense disparities that lay between their worlds. Their consciousnesses intertwined, thoughts and emotions merging seamlessly as they progressed through the sacred ceremony. The atmosphere in the chamber was becoming increasingly sparse, yet neither of them seemed aware of it. They were adrift in a realm of their own, utterly enveloped by the vastness of their bond. "Ariella," Ethan murmured, his voice filled with a sense of amazement and curiosity. "I never imagined, nor did I," she responded, her voice just as gentle, just as brimming with awe. In that instant, a transformation occurred, as if the very fabric of their bond had been altered forever. Ethan sensed a powerful force flowing within him, transforming his very essence. He inhaled sharply, his form quaking as the metamorphosis began to seize him. Ariella's eyes grew large as she sensed it as well. Her colossal form trembled as the power surged within her, transforming her, changing her in ways she couldn't entirely grasp. Yet, despite the transformations they underwent, the bond they shared only deepened, more powerful than it had ever been. They had transcended their individual existences, merging into a singular entity. The entrance to the chamber started to yield, the sharp sounds of instruments reverberating through the confined area. Yet, neither of them seemed to mind. They had surpassed the boundaries of the tangible realm, their consciousness and essence intertwined in an indelible bond. The entrance to the chamber burst open, yet the intruders froze in place. They had anticipated discovering two defenseless entities, ensnared in a frantic endeavor. What they encountered instead were two beings, altered beyond comprehension. Ethan and Ariella stood side by side, their forms glowing with the vibrant energy of their newfound bond. Their eyes, now radiating a vibrant purple light, were locked onto their foes, fearless and resolute. Ariella's voice pierced the stillness, resonating with an energy that was both commanding and filled with delight. "The link has been established." Ethan, his voice unwavering and deep, mirrored her words with an otherworldly clarity. "And what is united cannot be undone." The warriors paused, their arms poised, yet their bravery wavered. The two figures before them had transcended the boundaries of mere human and Valora warrior. They had transformed into a new existence, one that surpassed the physical and mental confines of their distinct origins. A novel force surged within their alliance, an energy impervious to any weapon's might. The invaders started to pull back, uncertainty and dread coursing through their ranks. Ethan and Ariella chose not to follow them. Instead, they simply stood there united, aware that their connection had already triumphed in the conflict. As the final soldier vanished into the shadows of the corridor, Ethan glanced at Ariella. He could still feel the electric hum of their bond, a sensation so profound that it blurred the line between where his thoughts ended and hers began. He had never experienced such a profound sense of unity, such an overwhelming feeling of being entirely at one with the universe. Ariella's enormous hand extended forward, softly brushing against his face. Her touch had transformed into something far beyond mere affection. It was woven into the fabric of their being, a deep connection that transcended the ordinary, a testament to the unity they now shared. Exchanged. "We are one," she murmured, her voice tinged with wonder. "I can sense it all, Ethan. All. Contemplation, every feeling. You exist inside of me. And you are within me," Ethan replied, his voice resonating with a sense of awe. He sensed her power coursing within him, her thoughts and yearnings intricately blended with his. For the first time, he could truly grasp the vastness of her journey, the burden of the expectations thrust upon her as a Valora warrior, the isolation of being set apart from her kind. He perceived the universe from her perspective, and understood the essence of her existence. Their forms thrummed with the residual power of the ceremony, the change, not merely ethereal but corporeal as well. Ethan sensed a surge within him, his muscles coiling with newfound agility, his mind racing with clarity like never before. Ariella, too, appeared to glide with an otherworldly elegance, her previously formidable presence now bearing an ethereal quality that had previously been absent. They had transcended mere connection. They had transformed into a singular entity, each amplifying the essence of the other in unimaginable ways. Envisioned. But it wasn't merely about dominance. It was a tale woven with faith, intertwined with affection. Ariella leaned in, her imposing figure lowering as she brought her gaze to meet his. In a distant realm, where the stars twinkle with secrets and the cosmos hums with life, an extraordinary tale unfolds. Beings from beyond the familiar horizons embark on a journey filled with wonder and mystery. Their encounters challenge the very fabric of existence, revealing truths that transcend the ordinary. As they navigate through the unknown, they discover not just new worlds, but also the essence of connection that binds all sentient beings together. The adventure is just beginning, and the universe awaits with bated breath. "Truly are extraordinary," she murmured, her breath gliding over his skin. Her voice resonated beyond mere sound, echoing through the very fabric of his being. It reverberated within him, a conduit straight to his essence. "I have sought this out for as long as I can remember. Someone who would perceive me not merely as a fighter, but as something greater. You were the one I had been anticipating all along." Ethan's heart raced within him, but it wasn't dread that ignited this fervor. It was an intense longing, a yearning that had been building between them for ages, restrained by responsibility and situation. In that instant, all barriers had vanished, leaving only the connection between them. "You're powerful, Ariella," Ethan whispered, his tone soft, personal. His hands glided to her face, sensing the warmth of her skin under his fingers, the rhythm of existence that resonated with his own. "Yet your power does not intimidate me. It is precisely what captivates me about you." Ariella's gaze became gentle, her enormous hands wrapping around his as she drew him nearer. "You've transformed me, brave one," she whispered, her lips forming a delicate, nearly bashful smile. "I never imagined I could experience such emotions for another being." Ethan grinned, a surge of warmth filling his chest. "I'm not so small anymore, am I?" he playfully taunted, gazing into her radiant violet eyes. "No," she agreed, her voice resonating with an otherworldly warmth. "You are beyond anything I could have imagined." Their foreheads met, and for a fleeting instant, everything else vanished into the void. The sirens, the turmoil erupted beyond the confines of the chamber, the struggle for power, it all faded into insignificance. All that mattered was this moment, this bond that intertwined their existence so profoundly that they transcended the boundaries of individuality. The atmosphere thickened, a warmth emanating from the very essence of their connection. It wasn't merely the ceremony that had summoned them to this place, it was the deepening bond, the yearning that had stirred quietly in the depths for an eternity. The bond had peeled away all defenses, exposing nothing but pure feeling, and they both sensed it deeply. Ariella's lips lingered just above his, her breath a gentle warmth brushing against his skin. "Ethan," she murmured, her voice tinged with a fragility that was seldom revealed. Ethan bridged the gap, their lips colliding in a kiss that was both gentle and electrifying. It was a kiss that conveyed the weight of their shared journey, each struggle, every flicker of uncertainty, and all the words left unvoiced. Their forms flowed together, driven not merely by longing, but by the profound bond that had emerged between them. Ariella's arms enveloped him, drawing him closer. In opposition to her, and Ethan sensed the pulse of her heart synchronizing with his own. Their kiss intensified, and the connection between them throbbed with energy, their thoughts and feelings intertwining even more deeply. It transcended mere physicality, it marked the culmination of their bond, the supreme manifestation of trust and affection. "You are intertwined with my essence now," Ariella murmured within his thoughts, her ethereal voice gentle yet resolute. "And I am a piece of your essence." Ethan's hand glided to the nape of her neck, his fingers weaving through her hair with an otherworldly grace. I wouldn't choose it differently." Their movements grew increasingly graceful, their forms responding to the collective feelings that streamed between them. Every touch, every breath resonated with an otherworldly intensity, transforming each moment into a timeless experience. Ariella's hands, once so rigid and controlled, were now gentle as they navigated the unfamiliar terrain of his body, her touch both reverent and fervent. Ethan sensed the intensity of her feelings flowing between them, her longing, her yearning, but also her affection, a devotion so profound that it risked engulfing him. He replied in a similar manner, allowing her to sense his own feelings, the intensity of his fondness for her, the reverence and wonder that had blossomed since their first encounter. Their consciousnesses intertwined, a silent exchange of ideas flowing between them, rendering speech obsolete. They connected in a way that transcended words, surpassing even the boundaries of the corporeal realm. It was a convergence of beings, an experience far deeper than anything either had ever encountered. Seasoned. As time unfolded, the depth of their connection only intensified. Their forms now in flawless synchronization flowed as a singular entity, their motions mirroring not just the ceremony, but the genuine connection that had been developing between them. Ariella, once a figure shrouded in chill and detachment, now radiated warmth and openness, her form yielding gently to his caress. And Ethan, who had always been so composed, so methodical, found himself yielding to the experience, releasing all else except the feeling of being in her presence. "You've transformed me," Ariella said once more, but this time her voice brimmed with awe as if she was still grappling with the change. "We have transformed one another," Ethan responded. His voice was low, yet unwavering. His hands glided down to connect with hers, their fingers weaving together once more. "This transcends mere tradition. This is us." Their bond surged to a peak, the energy surrounding them sparking like a live wire. It felt as though the cosmos had conspired, leading them to this instant where all that existed was the two of them, united in an unbreakable connection. As the ultimate surge of the bond enveloped them, it felt like the very fabric of time had come to a standstill. Ethan sensed his thoughts stretching, his awareness intertwining with Ariella's in a manner that transcended understanding. He could feel her past, her innermost reflections, her most profound yearnings, and he could sense the weight of his solitude, a burden he had borne for ages, the deep yearning to transcend the role of a mere warrior, to be acknowledged, to be cherished. And now they had discovered one another. As their forms settled, their breaths became gentle whispers, Ethan gazed into her eyes, his heart expanding with an otherworldly affection. "We have transformed," he murmured, his tone brimming with wonder. Ariella nodded, her hand rising to gently cradle his face. "Indeed, we have evolved beyond our previous selves." Her fingers glided along the contours of his jaw, a touch that was both delicate and deeply personal. "At this moment, we have become united as one." The luminescence in their gaze started to diminish, yet the connection endured, more powerful than it had ever been. The ritual was complete, yet the metamorphosis had only just begun. They had transcended mere existence. Humans and a Velura, they transcended the ordinary, embodying a fresh essence. A bond forged between two beings, destined to endure through the cosmos. "Approach," Ariella beckoned gently, her tone filled with warmth. "It is time to go back." As they stood, their bodies still humming with the energy of the bond, they realized that the realm beyond the chamber awaited them. Yet, they were transformed, no longer the same beings who had crossed the threshold into this space. They had grown more powerful, bound together as one. In the days that ensued, Ethan and Ariella stood as a testament to the extraordinary connections that could exist beyond the stars. Their unbreakable connection, evident in their transformed forms and intertwined minds, ignited a turning point in the interaction between humans and Velura. "Do you wish you hadn't done it?" Ethan asked one evening, as they stood watching Earth rise over the lunar horizon, their minds contentedly intertwined. "Do I lament merging with my unachievable tiny fighter?" Ariella's mental touch radiated with a unique blend of warmth and humor, captivating all who encountered it. "Absolutely not. I'm not as tiny as I once was," he reminded her, even though he still had to gaze upward to meet her eyes. "Gaze? In the vastness of the cosmos, you always stood tall where it counted," she said, drawing him nearer. "Your spirit, your bravery, your affection, these were always monumental." Their consciousness intertwined in the present. An intimate rhythm of interconnected minds, their connection a proof of the strength of affection to overcome all obstacles, whether they be tangible, societal, or even rooted in nature. They had transformed into an extraordinary existence, a magnificent evolution, and in that transformation, they had paved the way for others to embark on a similar journey. The celestial gathering hub, initially a modest venue for interspecies dialogue, had transformed into the cradle of an unprecedented age. And at its core stood Ethan and Ariella, irrevocably transformed, eternally intertwined, eternally devoted. "What comes next?" Ethan inquired, although their intertwined minds revealed the truth he sought. In that moment, Ariella beamed, her violet eyes reflecting his, guiding others toward a new path. In unity. Their tale transformed into myth across both worlds, the brave human fighter and the valiant Velura who ventured to unite, confronting peril and metamorphosis for the sake of affection, ultimately standing as testament that the most formidable barriers are merely constructs of the imagination. As they stood side by side, gazing at their two realms spinning through the cosmos, their intertwined thoughts extended to embrace the boundless potential that awaited them. They had transcended the limits of their wildest imaginations, and the adventure that lay ahead was only just unfolding. The bond had altered their very essence, yet the affection that led them to this point stood as their most profound metamorphosis of all.